What do QPR need to sign before the transfer deadline shuts this weekend? Also, what's happening with Lyndon Dykes? Lots of questions that we've got to answer, and we're doing that all on Where Rangers Walk. Welcome. We've got Jawad and Charlie back with us over the bank holiday weekend, so thank you very much for giving up part of your bank holiday to review the Plymouth game. I'm sure you won't want to, but we're going to force you to do that. We're also going to look ahead to the double header against Luton Town this week, both of the Cup and, of course, the Friday night fixture, which we'll all be watching as QPR on their travels to Kenilworth Road. First of all, Jawad, let's come to you for that Plymouth game, shall we? You've had a chance to calm down. What was your overarching thoughts?
I think the immediate reaction is such frustration that we couldn't beat them. I think when you actually sit back a couple of days later, you realise that it's just one of those days that we just didn't take our chances. They created enough chances. I think we had 30 shots on goal, 10 on target, which was the highest in the league at the weekend. And when you look at who the chances fell to, I think Jimmy Dunn had 5 shots on goal. I think Samfield had 5 shots on goal. It just kind of fell to the wrong person. So performance-wise, not too bad. It's just the age-old problem of goals, I think.
Yeah, Plymouth at home. It happened last year as well, didn't it? Where they just come and do it. They just come and do a number on you, and Connor Hazard just plays it out of his skin. Charlie, do you agree with all that? You're not too disappointed with the result, were you, given the performance?
No, I do agree. I think at this stage of the season, I think you do look at performance rather than points. If this happened later on, like towards the end, if we're like battling for relegation, then it would be I wouldn't. That's the stage where you don't look at performance. You just want to get over the line with the points. But it was very happy with the performance. Dembele again looked very good, very excited about him. And yeah, I mean, their keeper was just on another level. What can you do?
Yeah, have a look at some of these tweets about the game, both of you, and see what you think. I mean, they all echo your point there, Charlie, about Dembele. Adam says, not a bad performance. I'll just let them back in. Usual story. Deserves sending off. Could have had one more as well. If we could finish today, we would have been easy. No concerns. Lots of new players bedding in. But next Friday is going to be a tough game. Dembele class. Jared, I want to come to you about this second one here. Adam Goodman says Seller is better, but still not measuring up. Late subs on too late. EDB clearly in the doghouse, no interest in Santos. Let's go for the Seller bit first there. Connor at the bottom here says Seller may have a day off. Missed about 100 sitters. What is going on with your new striker?
I think he looks like he's desperate for a goal. He snatched at a couple of chances in the second half. A couple of them came at him quite quickly, and he kind of played off instinct. And he seems to me like he might be a better finisher when he has time, one-on-one maybe. Whereas some of the other players like Dykes or Smith seem better when they work on instinct. So I think it's good that he's getting in the positions. He was better, but I'm still not sure if any of the strikers are going to be 15, 20 goal a season strikers, to be honest.
You mentioned Dykes there. We'll come back to him in a second. We'll find out what's going on there. But Charlie, Connor at the bottom there was a lot more harsher. So it was embarrassing. Fair play to Plymouth keeper and defence, but Jesus Lord, we are horrible in front of goal. We talked about that. Did you think it was embarrassing?
Well, not great being on Sky. I feel like we had a lot of eyes on us there, but no, I mean, the 9 men bit is bad. I mean, you can label it as 9 men Plymouth, hold on to a point, but their red card was quite late on, so yeah. I don't know. It's just a same old story. I wouldn't call it embarrassing though. It was still a good performance.
Let's come on to Dykes then, because Gary wasn't the only person to call out this. I don't know what's going on with Dykes, but he's got to be a better option on the bench than the devoid of all confidence Seller. And I think Marty, after the game, was quite honest on this one, Jared, as well, and said, well, look, I only pick players that are available. He's not available. But he's not injured, is he?
No, I think it's probably a club choice. It seems like there's clubs interested in Millwall and Birmingham, and I think the club are going to be happy if there's a bidding war come Friday and one of them pays over the odds. I'm sure if he was available, he would have started after scoring last week. He's been linked with clubs for the last 18 months, really, and I'll be honest with you, he's been there long enough. He's had enough chances to prove that he's going to be a championship standard striker. If the club got a good offer for him, then good luck to him. But I don't think he'll play for us again.
I will say that he was at the game. So and also he did sign a new deal in the summer. I don't think he's going to leave personally.
Well, what's the point in selling him late on Friday evening though to Birmingham, Charlie? Because you have no chance to invest that money.
Well, I mean, I don't think there is much point. That's what I mean. It would seem. I mean, it's a weird thing to do. If we do sell him, I think that leaves us quite short on strikers because then it's only Selar and Frey. So I don't think it would be a smart move selling him. And if you look at the stats recently, I am a big Dykes lover, by the way, which is very controversial view. But if you look at the stats, he's got like 4 goals in the last 5 games or something. If you include the games off the back end of last season, so I thought he's been doing pretty well recently, and I was disappointed to see him not in the squad.
I would start him ahead of the other two. Don't get me wrong, but if an offer comes in, I think having signed Maddison last week, Dembele, Saito, I do think they're going to have to sell before the window shuts. Now, the players that have been linked with transfers, Chair, Clark Salter, he's the one I think that you would sacrifice, to be honest.
I think best case scenario, Eze gets sold and we take the sell-on clause we have in that deal. But that's hopeful thinking. It's not really in our hands.
It's gone quiet as well on that one.
Let's go on that next week if that materialises. Last one on this one, Jared, for you. With all these attacking options, yet still our preferred route to goal appears to be a cross for a header. The team often struggled to convert these last season. We have to improve in this area. Are we even allowed to shoot from distance? See the Whittaker goal. Lots of these disgruntled ones. Can you see that tweeter's point of view?
We did put in quite a lot of crosses actually at the weekend. I think Dembele completed 10 accurate crosses, which seems an awfully high number. And I think when you got someone like Frey in there, Samfield got in the box a lot. Matson got in the box a lot. I do think it's going to be a tactic that's used because they're all pretty good in the air. Dembele's crossing was outstanding. So I think when Chair comes back, maybe that will change ever so slightly. But I thought we attacked well at the weekend.
We'll leave Plymouth alone then for a second. Let's talk Luton Town, shall we? We spoke to them earlier, and they can't understand why. Well, they can't understand. It's historical why you dislike them so much. But Charlie, where do you stand? You're very young, but do you get do you understand this dislike for Luton?
Well, there was a game. I think it was in the 2021/22 season. I remember it was very hard to get to the stadium because they were like blocked off some of the Uxbridge Road, and I remember that. So I mean, it probably got quite heated, but I don't know. Luton just one of those clubs you don't like. It's small. I don't know.
Jared, it goes back to hooligan days apparently.
Yeah, I think kind of I grew up supporting QPR in the 80s and 90s. So really we didn't play them much till about 90, 98, 99, 2000 maybe. And then it became kind of a big game. There was quite a lot of trouble at that game. Charlie mentioned a Luton fan got seriously injured. So I think that just added to the animosity from their side. It's always got a high police presence there. It's not nice being an away fan there. I doubt it's nice for them being an away fan Loftus Road either, but it is since kind of Brentford went up, Fulham went up. That's the kind of fixture now that I think a lot of QPR fans look to as the big rivalry.
Which one would you rather win, Charlie? Cup game or
I'd rather win in the league. We still need that first win on the board, and we're inevitably going to get knocked out later in the cup, so it's not really much point.
I think go on, Mark. Sorry, you go on. I was saying, I think it's on Friday. I don't think either team wants to go into that international break without a victory on the board yet. I think it's quite a big game. I think whoever loses, if there is a loser, it just adds a tiny bit of pressure, I think.
Yeah, you don't look at your position in the league, do you? Either of you with any kind of concern at all so far, do you? I mean, let's go through it. You played a decent West Brom side who were in the playoffs last season. You played a relegated Premier League side of Sheffield United. The only game I suppose you could look at so far is the Plymouth game, and like you said, another day you get 3 points in it. So we're not going to be back here again, Jared, or relegation discussions.
No, although I haven't done the maths, but I think we were probably better off points-wise this time last season after beating Cardiff. I don't think there's any fear. I think Dembele's performance at the weekend was more than enough to kind of give us so much optimism. I think the only thing that hurts us is if we lose a couple of players before the window, or if there's a long-term injury to one of those key players, then we might be in a bit of a struggle. But at the moment, I don't think anyone's panicking.
All right, the transfer window then also happens just at the same time. You'll finish at Plymouth Road on Friday. Charlie, what would you like to have seen happen for this to be a decent window for you?
Well, honestly, I think I would want a Solskjaer, which I don't know. I feel like we have spent a lot of money this window, more than I think, more than I can remember we've spent in a long time, probably since our Premier League days. And I mean, money's got to come in from somewhere, because God forbid we get another transfer embargo, which sort of has screwed us for the past 10 years and why I've been stuck in the Championship. So I think Solskjaer for around 10 million, I think we could probably get for him. Preferably not to preferably not to a Championship club, because that would sort of sting to see him score against us in the league later on. But yeah, hopefully 10 million, just so we can turn a profit this window.
I did not expect to hear that answer, Charlie. I'll be honest with you. Joed, what needs to happen for you?
I think Charlie's right in a way. I don't want him to leave, but I think there's 3 or 4 players that have been linked, and if their asking prices are met as a club, we have to accept that that's the club that we are now. So if 10 million offer comes in for Jed, the club take it. If a 6 million offer comes in for Jake Clark-Salter, they take it. If 2 million offer comes in for Dykes, they're going to take it, I think. In terms of incomings, I don't think there'll be any. I think probably Maatsen last week was probably the final one. I think maybe they might look at the loan market if there's a Premier League player available. But like Charlie said, I'm surprised at how much they've actually spent. So if he's looking at weak areas, I would say either fullback area might be the position that he still thinks maybe left back especially. But yeah, I can't see much happening, to be honest.
A couple of last ones for you. Danish midfielder Nicholas Madsen was signed this week on Spurs Week. Do we know anything about him other than he's Danish? He's a midfielder.
He played well at the weekend. Thought he I didn't expect him to start, having only signed Friday afternoon. But he showed some nice touches. Physically, he's not going to struggle in the Championship. 6'4", but he looks like a kind of one of those good touch for a big man kind of players, really. So I think he's going to be a really, really important player, and I think the midfield going forward is going to be him plus one of the other 3.
Finally, I want your kind of unbiased reactions to this one. Gavin Ward has refereed 2 games in the Championship so far. One was Stoke against Coventry, and both fans said it was awful for both sides in that game. And the Plymouth fan, of course, we spoke to earlier, said he should never referee a Plymouth game again. Charlie, is he a bad referee?
Yeah, he's terrible. He's terrible. I knew it. I saw him at the start. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I know him. That's Gavin Ward. He's got quite a distinct look about him. He's horrible. It's not just it's not like he has a bias towards QPR. He's been terrible towards us before. That's why I found out who he was. He's just a terrible ref. He's a fusspot. He always makes a game about him. He's terrible. I can understand Plymouth's frustration. Absolutely, yeah. Terrible.
Do you have sympathies with him, Jawad? I mean, I know you're saying both red cards are deserved and so on, but do you understand how when you've travelled all that way for a 12:30 kickoff for the referee to dominate it the way that they did?
I think as an away fan, you're going to feel like that. But again, in hindsight, the first red card, he had no choice. The second red card, he had no choice. There were 2 other incidents in the first half that haven't been highlighted because of the 2 red cards. There was a tackle on Paul Smith where the follow through was up by his knee. It was an awful challenge, and there was an elbow on Madsen. And I think in the Premier League with VAR, they could end up with 4 red cards there.
4 red cards. That's a 3-0 win. Forfeit the game.
They're crying about the penalty, where if you look at the rules now, if there's mutual shirt pulling, it's not a foul, and the guy's clearly got hold of Clark Salter's shirt. I think there was one decision in the first half where Powell should have been booked straight after one of their players got booked for a similar challenge. So that kind of thing is frustrating because all you want is consistency. And don't get me wrong, he's a referee that's hurt us in the past, but on Saturday, I think the big calls he actually got right.
I do agree with both Reds.
Yeah, I do ask because watching how the league dispenses referees, that was a bad performance. He's had 2. So I'm watching this weekend what game he locks up, or will he get demoted to another league? Because this league demands a certain quality of referee, and there are some good ones. But I've always felt Gavin Ward is one of the worst, and so far he's not proved me wrong.
It's him and Keith
Stroud.
Yeah, him and Keith Stroud. Those are the ones you got to watch out for. And no
matter how many times you see them, they're there week after week after week, getting big games in this league, and they're just not up to standard. But you can't do anything about it.
I'll say that the ref against Sheffield United was also terrible. I don't know what his name was, but he made it all about him. I mean, the amount of stopping and starting there was in that game was a joke.
Right, thank you very much, both of you. We'll have our full team back next week as we review both Luton games. Enjoy them. We'll be watching you on Friday. Again, I feel I've watched more QPR this season than I watched the whole of last season already. We're watching you again on Friday night with a beer in my hand. Enjoy it, and we'll review it next week. Thanks for joining us on Where Rangers Walk.